folks, welcome to the Flipside. Thanks for joining me right here on my own little channel. Usually I have JT sitting next to me, but because of a mishap, a technical mishap, basically I forgot to plug a cord into the receiver, and so the mic transmitters were transmitting to nothing. And the bottom five, top five that we recorded this week didn't have any audio in it. And I didn't find out until this morning when I tried to start editing it. Anyway, because of that, JT won't be here. This is kind of like a audible plan B. And I'm going to be doing my top 5 Viking games for you. Now, over on the Dice Tower, I put my bottom 5, that's numbers 10 through 6 up, so you can go check that out if you have not yet already. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump into it and give you my top 5, and then we're going to talk about some of the games that didn't make my list and why. All right, so we'll do that at the end of the video, though. Let's get to my top 5 Viking games. Let's hit it. So number 5, clocking in at a 2.67 out of 5 for complexity, is a game that I actually got from Tom because Tom didn't like it, and that's fine and dandy because I actually really enjoy this game, and that is called Fire and Axe: A Viking Saga. One of the coolest mechanisms about this game is the days of the week. You have 7 days to do your turn. So basically you have 7 action points if you really want to boil it down to its lowest common denominator, and you're able to do certain things on your turn using those 7 action points. But some of them take longer, like loading your ship and sailing and all of that kind of stuff. Sailing depends upon how, where you are on the seas and what the weather is like on those seas. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on here. Basically, though, you're just trying to score points. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner, and you get points for doing a lot of different things. But there are things like trading with different ports, occupying or taking over different ports, and sacking the huge cities and all of that kind of stuff. And I really did enjoy this game a lot, and it has only gotten better. IDW Games, I believe, did a second edition of it that I wasn't too keen on, but it kind of grew on me over the years, and of course that's the best edition to have at this point anyway. But I did like the artwork of the original edition just a little bit better. But it's a great game, and I really do enjoy it. So if you have the opportunity, go check it out. That's my number 5, Fire and Axe: A Viking Saga. My number 4 is a brand new game from Portal Games, and this is an IP that I knew nothing about, but apparently it was very popular, and it still is over in Europe. And Thorgal, the board game, is one of my favorite Viking games right now. Now, it is a narrative game where you are going to be doing things during the course of the game that are going to prompt you to go read paragraphs out of a book. And then you have to make decisions based upon what those things do sometimes, and sometimes those things just do things to you that could be good or bad. But I really enjoy that. It's also got a very unique system of damage where you're going to be taking different polyomino shapes and placing them down into your damage area on your player board. You're also going to be using a very similar system for when you damage the other people or monsters that you're fighting in the game. And as long as you're able, like if you're fighting this monster, if you're able to cover up all of its hit points using these different polyomino shapes, then you'll have defeated them. But if you haven't, well, that card that has a certain layout of damage goes away, so that the next time you come and fight that same level of bad guy, you're going to flip over a different card. So you're going to have to do a different kind of blueprint of damage to this person. Same number of hit points, but they might be configured in a different way. I really enjoy that, and it keeps fighting those different levels of people pretty fresh. And so I was really happy when I got a copy of this in and was able to give it a try. It plays great solo, and I've really been enjoying it. So that's my number 4, Thorgal, the board game. My number 3 is a game that I have talked about a lot, and it comes in a small little package from Pandasaurus Games, and this one is called Gnar. It has great artwork, first of all. It's got a great compact little package that has a lot of game in it. Basically, it's just a race to 40 points. Whoever can get 40 points the first is going to, or fastest, is going to trigger the end of the game. And then after everybody has had an equal number of turns, whoever has the most points is the winner, as long as you're over 40 points. And while you're doing that, you basically have the option of growing your crew or going on a journey. And then there are some actions that you can do for free, no matter what action you choose as your main action. But you can either grow your crew by drawing more cards and adding them into your tableau, or you can use your crew member cards from your tableau in order to go on these different journeys. And you're going to be able to basically, if you're going on journeys, you're going to get some perks, you're going to get some points, and you might get some or some reputation. But basically, you're doing all of this to create an engine that's going to score you 40 points the fastest. Really a great game. Such a great amount of choices and game in this little tiny box. And it is definitely going to be one that I keep in my collection for a very long time. It's a great little game. That's my number 3, Gnar. My number 2 is a game that I've already mentioned as we were talking about Reavers of Midgard, and this is Champions of Midgard. It is definitely my favorite of those two because it just sings and shines, especially if you have the Valhalla and Dark Mountains expansions to go along with them. Those two expansions really round out this game. So if you have the base game and you don't have those expansions, if you like it, I would strongly encourage you to go pick up the 2 expansions, because I think that's really where this game is at its best. It's a great game in its core, don't get me wrong, but the things that the expansions add just makes sense, and it just makes a really great game even better. So basically what you're doing is you're amassing different resources and different crew members and different fighters to go off and do different things. You want to try to go fight the trolls, because if nobody go fights the trolls, then everybody kind of gets some bad mojo, you know what I'm saying? So some curses. And you want to go fight the Burgessar in the Dark Mountains. You want to go fight the people. I'm forgetting all of their names, but you also want to go across the seas and fight the big dragons. That's where you're going to get a lot of points, dragons and sea monsters and all of this other kind of stuff. It is a great little Viking game that is so much fun to play. It's going to take you a couple hours to get through a game of it, but I feel like you will not be disappointed after having done so. And that's one of the monikers for me of a great game, is even though it has a higher time commitment than what you might be used to, you still enjoy it and you still want to play it again. That is great. I really enjoy this game a lot. I'm super pumped that they're coming out with a 10th anniversary edition of it. So hopefully I'll be able to help them spread the word about that a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. Really enjoy this game a lot. My number 2, Champions of Midgard. My number 1 should come as no surprise. It has been my number 1 game of all time for quite some time, and that is Blood Rage by Eric Lang, and put out by Cool Mini or Not, or Simon, as they have been come to be known here recently. I really enjoy this game. I love card drafting. I love area control mechanisms. I love having private objectives that you want to try to reach without having people really be able to do much to stop you about it, but it's still challenging. I love the variable player powers. As you play cards into your clan, you become your own distinct, unique clan of Viking warriors. You can hire monsters into your clan so that they'll fight for you. The miniatures are great sculpts. There's just so much about this game that I love, and the more I play it, the more I enjoy it. I'm not always very good at it, especially if I play somebody else that's equally as savvy on it as I am. But I just really enjoy this game. I don't think it's ever going to be dethroned as my favorite game of all time. I mean, time will tell, right? But I can't see it happening at this point. So it's clearly my #1 Viking game. That is Blood Rage. What I said that we were going to do here at the end of this video is just talk about the other games that I wrote down that I considered putting on my list and briefly describe what they are. And there are basically 10 more that are here, and I'll do them in order. Number 11 is Raids. Great little game, but it's a little on the lighter side, but Brett J. Gilbert did a great job. I'm pretty sure that that's the designer, but Yellow did a great job producing this game, and it's a very good game, very much a family weight game as well. So that was a good one. Number 12 was Lords of Ragnarok, based on Lords of Hellas, but the Viking theme definitely comes through on this one as well. Beautiful production by Awakened Realms. A lot of great stuff going on in that game. Lords of Ragnarok is 12. 13 is a game called Valhalla, which is a card, kind of like a hand management game, where you're going to be, putting your crew of Vikings, your kind of army of Vikings together and fighting each other and that type of stuff. It's a really cool card game. Really enjoy that one a lot. 14 was Loot, L-O-O-O-T. And this is probably probably one of the lighter ones on the list, not counting Odin's Ravens, but it's a neat little game where you're building out your own little tableau as a Viking, and it's how you can chain your Vikings out to these different things, but it's really fun. A lot lighter than I was expecting it to be, but it's still a lot of fun. 15 was Thunder and Lightning, a two-player game from I believe the Cosmos line way back in the day, where one of you is Loki and the other one is Thor, and you have these columns of cards, and you're basically trying to root out the other person's leader before they find yours out, and there's other card powers that will fire off when they're flipped over and that kind of thing. So really fun game though, Thunder and Lightning, great two-player card game. Number 16 was In the Name of Odin, a great little game, but just not as good as the other ones that did make the list. But it's a fun game. It's got a very streamlined idea. You're just going out and you're trying to accomplish these different goals and tasks and journeys. And you can use. They have 3 different kinds of Vikings. You have Berserkers and they're blue and red. I can't remember what the blue and the red are. I know the black ones are Berserkers, but anyway, it's a great little game, and I've enjoyed it. It's going to stay in my collection. My number 17 is a two-player game that I just reviewed here recently as well, called Thingstead from Salt and Pepper Game. I love two-player games, and I love the little. I just love the duality of actions that you have in this. There's basically 2 areas on the board: a Thingstead where all of the elders are, and then a bunch of clan houses. And you're really trying to get the elders' support, because you want to be the next chieftain in the village, and that's really the focus, is getting the support of the elders. But to help you get that, and to kind of help your score out at the end of the game, you can also try to influence the different clan houses that are in the village, and those will give you a few extra points at the end of the game. But really, you're trying to do the best you can at influencing the elders over here. It's a great little two-player game. I really enjoy it. That would be my number 17. Number 18 is going to be Spoils of War. You're basically just trying to get the most spoils. You're dividing up the spoils after a plundering journey. And so you're trying to get the best stuff on your side of the table. Whoever has the most coins or value of objects at the end of the game is the winner. Really fun. Kind of think Liar's Dice, but with a Viking theme thrown into it with special powers and that kind of stuff. It's actually a really fun game. But that's number 18. Number 19 is Ragnaroks. So kind of think, as far as the kind of game it is, kind of think Santorini, but not in the Greek pantheon, in the Norse pantheon. And but the difference is that you're trying to get your Viking off into his own area, and when your Vikings get off into their own little area, you're going to score points for that area equal to the number of spaces in that area. So you're, of course, wanting to corner off as large of an area as possible, but it's a really fun game. It's got really nice components as well. I do have the Kickstarter edition, which helps, but it's still a great little game. And then finally, the last one is Tiny Epic Vikings. This is one that I actually owned, but I have since gotten rid of it. So it just kind of came in at the end here so that I could level out and get 20. I have played it. I don't dislike it. It's just not one that I wanted to keep. I'm just not a Tiny Epic game kind of person. So I didn't keep it around, but it is a good game, so I wanted to include it anyway. There are several games that I have not played yet that I do have on my shelves: Pax Viking, Villainous Vikings, Asgard, and Valnal. Those are all games that I have, but I just haven't played them yet. But I do own them, so I wanted to mention that I do have them. I just haven't played them yet. But that's it, my top 5 and a few more as far as that's concerned. Thanks for joining us here on the Flip Side. I certainly appreciate it. JT will be back next week, I promise you. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.